one.
This conference will now be recorded.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Have you ever been to one of these?
I sat in last month.
Oh, yeah, you sat in the back. We introduced
Whenever I had dessert first.
Yeah, we changed the agenda.
Uh-huh. Like you already.
All right, calling the meeting to order. Will everyone please stand with me and the pledge of allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Item number 2, public comment. Anyone in the audience will be given time to speak to items on the consent agenda. Please ask for that item to be removed from the consent agenda. Items pulled will be heard at the beginning of the regular agenda. Members of the public will be given an appropriate to speak opportunity. I can't see that word blurred on me. Shit.
It's tough getting old.
Prior to council actions being taken.
Strike that.
I was like, I just told her how well I could see it, and then it blurred out on me. I'm like, what the hell? I'm having a stroke. Is there anybody wanting the public comment to speak? Okay, we're moving on. Council announcements. Is there anybody that would like to introduce anybody in our audience that's here today? Mayor Pro Tem, welcome.
Thank you very
I'm
much.
so glad he left you, introduced you, and then he left you hanging.
I know, right? That was fast.
So tell me the first acronym that comes to mind, 3-letter acronym.
Oh, Lord.
No,
We
just
have to
kidding.
stop.
Well, I'm gonna make one up just because nobody will know it.
You're probably right.
It'll be one. It'll be one.
Is there anybody that'd like to introduce anybody? Or any announcements that want to come out? All right, we're moving on to item 4. Look at that, already ahead of schedule. Approval of minutes.
Tricia's here now.
She came in. She's back getting food. Move to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
Got a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Moves forward. All right, getting into the leading planning agency of air quality agenda, air pollution control division, written report. It's in your packet. Any comments? Regional Air Quality Council, RAC, written report. Any comments? In North Front Range NPO air quality program updates. Dina. You got 2 minutes. Oh, just kidding.
2 minutes. Okay, I'll talk really fast. Good evening. As a reminder, although I am a RAC board member, I'm here tonight as your consultant through Two Roads Environmental. I want to highlight just a couple of air quality events back in August. So first of all, I want to come to the concerns that this council raised last month in terms of potential revisions to Regulation 11 and vehicle inspection and maintenance testing. Concerns specifically were raised about lowering the 7-year exemption for newer vehicles from undergoing testing, lowering that from 7 years down to 3 years. We did some digging and we just highlight that that is not part of the Air Pollution Control Division's proposal. And so I just wanted to make sure that the council was aware of that fact. In addition to that, we saw that the overall SIP, ozone SIP proposal still has Regulation 11 changes related to vehicle inspection and maintenance, testing and fees, but there's also some other control strategies included in that. I've summarized that the past couple months, so I'm not going to go into detail about it. However, the rulemaking schedule is kind of set out, and then I wanted to highlight a couple of milestones. So by the end of September, we should see whether or not there are alternative proposals to what their Pollution Control Division put in their rulemaking proposal. So we're going to be looking at that at the end of September. And I also want to highlight that if there are comments that want to be made, you can submit comments in writing up through November 4th to the Air Quality Control Commission on this overall ozone SIP proposal. And entities can register to submit oral comments during the rulemaking hearing. And so if there's an interest in doing that, please let me know and we can try to work to make sure that we're hitting the right deadlines. But I have included that in the report on the bottom of page 2. All right, beyond that, we saw that the RAC held their second workshop on their blueprint of control strategies that they are envisioning developing now through 2030 timeframe. And so the workshop was held in Fort Collins and it was very well attended, I'm happy to say. They did ask for comments on this latest version of their blueprint by August 25th. However, they also indicated that they would continue taking comments after that date. The blueprint itself does identify several new control strategies that really have not yet been fleshed out. And so we're continuing to explore what those might look like. And so I envision that this blueprint is going to evolve over time. Generally, we wanted to see more details and kind of consistent information from concept to concept so we can kind of fairly assess those strategies. And in addition to that, the RAC was going to schedule, or they had postponed what was going to be a modeling update this past July. They postponed that till later this fall. I'm hearing it might be somewhere in November. And so that modeling, we're anticipating some of those results to help shed a little bit of light in terms of what types of control strategies, like, do you go after combustion sources, or do you go after those volatile organic compound sources? What kinds of reductions will make a difference at which monitors? So we're going to track the status of the rescheduling of that forum, but all of that should help us continue to navigate and identify control strategies in moving forward. All right. Lastly, I just want to touch upon what we're seeing at the ozone monitors. There hasn't been a whole lot of change. We still see that Fort Collins West, Greeley, and Timnath monitors already have fourth max values over 70, that 70 parts per billion standard. And so, there's more work to be done. I did say that was last, but I'm sorry. There's two more things. There are two grant fund opportunities that I wanted to highlight. They're on the, I think, page 4, in terms of funding available to businesses, local governments, nonprofit schools, etc., seeking funding to buy low emission or zero emission vehicles for use in fleet operations. And then separately, the Air Quality Enterprise is launching kind of a rolling application process for applicants seeking funding to advance air quality in Colorado through new and emerging technologies. And so that's something where they're going to continue just receiving applications over time. They'll probably review them at least quarterly and just get in the process of, distributing money to fund projects that will help us better understand or improve air quality in the Front Range. So there's some links that I included if you're at all interested in those grant funding opportunities. So with that, I'll close. I a little longer than 2 minutes, but are there any questions?
Any questions for Dina? All right, thank you, Dina. Well done. You're not going to get picked on tonight. We have nothing to say. In your packet, I hope you guys saw the letters that was submitted, and then Elizabeth signed one for the executive director. So, moving on, non-attainment air pollution mitigation enterprise. Nemni.
No meeting in August, no meeting in September now, so the next meeting won't be till October 23rd. So no news.
Man, that's easy. Can I be on that committee?
Sure.
Yeah.
No new news.
You can throw some money.
No news.
All right, moving on.
Everybody got some money at the table.
Yes, this community's did.
Region did well.
Metropolitan Planning Area's agenda, report from chair. Nothing.
Oh,
I
wow.
do have things, but I'm not gonna report on it. I don't think it's really relevant. Number 10, executive director's report.
Okay, well,
Clifford.
thank you. I do have a couple of things. I just, some reminders again for council that we have, we opened up our Chase Bank business account, and we are working on migrating our finances from First National Bank to Chase Bank. So for a time period, we will be operating it in both banking facilities until we can get all of our accounts transferred over. We are hoping to get our credit cards for that, for Chase Bank here this month and start earning our 2% cash rewards for the organization. And again, I want to thank Tanya, who is here, our controller, on helping coordinate and set some of that up for us so that we can not be feed to death from our banking institutions that we operate. So that's good news. Also, as part of our financial system, we are looking at migrating from our existing financial software, Great Plains, to a new ERP software called Acumatica. That is a process we have just started. That contract was signed prior to me coming on board to implement that new ERP. So we're just in the beginning phases. The goal would be to try and go live next year. So we will have some overlap also for our two existing systems for audit purposes that we will be working through from 2025 as we transition into 2026. I would say some of the good things with the new financial system is hopefully realizing some efficiencies for our organization. There's some opportunities then to update some of our websites like Van Gogh to realize some of those efficiencies as well. So we are excited to see and hopefully it's always fun to transfer financial systems. So you know, it's not stressful at all. But speaking of Van Gogh, also, I'm working with Shane on a contract to update our fare billing to streamline the process for customers. And again, hopefully on the back end, the reporting for our national transit database that will be more streamlined, that they'll be able to use with these new systems to facilitate the addition of a new app to our portfolio. So that contract we're hoping to finalize here in the next week or so. Also included in your packet is, Johnny didn't mention this one, but we did sign on to a letter with the other MPOs. So all 5 MPOs did submit a letter to USDOT regarding the notice of request of information that is in your packet as well. And that letter basically outlined recommendations for USDOT as far as the upcoming reauthorization of the transportation bill. And we had, of course, I think it's always obvious when we asked for additional funding, transportation funding for our regions, our states. We also, though, tried to stress we are one of the fastest growing states, and we think that they should have consideration for additional funding to our fastest growing states. And so that was part of the letter as well. Let's see, and also it's always good to say, hey, will you take away our local match requirements that you're required to make us provide as far as receiving that federal funding. So we asked for that as well. So that letter, if you're interested, and your communities also, as we're going through transportation comments, you are more than welcome to take some of those. I think other communities also talked about, why aren't we saying we want to have our contracts streamlined and for efficiency purposes so that we can get our funding in more reasonable timeframes. So those are additional comments that your communities could add on to and submit. This one happened to be due, I think, on August 20th. So it was in between meetings. But I wanted you guys to have a copy of that. I also wanted, as Johnny had mentioned, you guys have a copy of the letter that Councilman Olson signed for the RAC, the blueprint strategy. So just so that you guys know, the comments that were put together for the RAC, these comments were based on the August 18th version of the blueprint. They came out with a new version on the 29th. So this is a fluid dynamic thing. So Commissioner Stevens, you'll see a new blueprint at the board meeting tomorrow that, you know, I'm not really sure, in having reviewed it, they added another highlighted color.
Well, it's very hard to read this.
Yeah.
Like, I just thought that those colors were good.
So I wanted you to make, you know, you have our comments in the packet. So if you have any questions or anything, I was gonna join virtually. You can just let me know, but the gist of the comments, this is, it's not necessarily a moving target, but they're changing the strategies. I think what Dina had reported was wonderful because we did confirm with that APCD and the RAC did communicate that the RAC will not be taking these changes to the rulemaking in November. And that was one of the things you guys were concerned about, like, why are we seeing different strategies and we're going to have a rulemaking in November that might not align? Why would we have two different organizations having two different strategies to present to the rulemaking? And so I've been on very, you know, I feel confident from APCD that they're on the same page as the RAC, and the strategies, some of these strategies that are going to come out of the blueprint will not be going into the rulemaking.
Right.
With that in mind, as Dina says, you know, we're hoping to get, if there are updated proposals by the end of September. So the time frame and more of my concern with you guys is we are not a party, and I don't think we should be a party. I don't think that that's what we need to do. But if there are comments as a council that you want to submit, we can do that under public comments. You saw her deadline on that slide. Public comments is November 4th, and we don't meet till November 6th. So there may be a time that we draft some comments if you guys feel strongly about certain comments, and we, you know, go through email to get your guys' support of this is what you would want to submit if you do want to submit comments. We'll have the October meeting, hopefully, to have a better idea of if there are alternative proposals being recommended, but we don't really know that right now. So everything is just, we're going off of what the rule says, which is following the Senate bill. So APCD is really following what that bill proposed and putting it in the rulemaking. So I think you guys are okay for right now. But I just wanted to at least bring it to your attention that if something does come out of RAC tomorrow, that, you know, we need to regroup on. Maybe at the next executive committee meeting, we can try and touch base.
I heard her say if shenanigans pop up, we need to know.
Is that what I said?
I mean, well, interestingly, we got sort of a policy document on what the blueprint in preparation for tomorrow's meeting, about what the blueprint, what they're kind of doing and what they're doing with the comments that they've received from those meetings, including the one in Fort Collins on the 18th. You know, they clearly heard from, you know, that costs were an important thing to consider. And so they did say in the policy creation of the blueprint that they will make regular estimates of the amount of each control strategy and the ozone, and how they will reduce ozone precursor emissions. So there is, I mean, I think that it still is a very fluid document, which is hard. So it's hard to pin down kind of what we're looking at any given time, I think. So yes, I will let you know if any shenanigans happen.
But that's great news, because that's essentially what the letter said, that we wanted them to, you know, potentially put costs and air reduction emissions to the strategies they want to bring forward.
Well, a lot of the strategies that are, you know, there are a lot that deal with, that industry has to deal with, right? And so some of them are transportation related, but a bulk of them relate to either oil and gas or other industry. And so, you know, when I knew about the meeting happening on the 18th, I wrote to our Chamber of Commerce and said, hey, you may want some industry people to attend this meeting because I think that, they need to ask those kind of questions because, I mean, that outreach needs to happen. And I think that that's another thing that this policy document says is that they're committed to outreach and control strategies may appear vague at first and details will come into focus. It's hard to comment on a document that keeps changing, and so, right? I mean, because I think it's good to change a document as you hear feedback. At the same time, I mean, at some point, we would like to know this is a document that's being put forward. So, that was very different than the SIP, which really had this is a document. This is going forward to the air quality folks at CDPHE, and this is what's happening. Whereas this is sort of suggestions, comments, kind of.
Hopefully for the next SIP.
Right. Yeah, not for this.
Not for this one. Yeah.
That's right.
And
Okay.
let us know.
Thank you.
I felt like I'd said a lot of words to say, I don't know anything.
A good politician knows how to do it. All right, is there anything else?
I just have one last thing that I'll be bringing back to you guys as a heads up, because we did meet with our IT folks yesterday, and I would say that there isn't great news about our server situation and the deadline that we're gonna have to bring some of our IT stuff into compliance. It's probably gonna need to happen by the end of October. I have them working through scenarios right now of what it would be to migrate to the cloud. Look at other enterprise licenses, things like that. So they're going to be running options for us. And once I have a better idea of what those options look like, I'll share those with you guys. But it'll be happening.
In this case?
Greystone is our IT consultant for the organization.
Okay.
And so they're the ones that presented their annual roadmap to us for next year. But while they were saying, oh, but you're not going to make it to next year because we've got to handle these licensing issues by October 26th. So we've got some work to do. That will, until I have more options that I'm ready to even go over with you guys, I don't want to waste your time. That is all the good news that I have.
Okay. Any questions? All right, we're moving to the finance report. I have a question. It's written. Have we had a Van Gogh presentation in a while? I mean, like what our ridership is. I know we sold a lot of vans. I don't know if I've seen one in the last 6 months. Not for the whole board, but.
Yeah.
Finance committee seated. Yeah, because I haven't heard like how they're, I'm sure they're doing well because they always do, but we went down, we sold some vans, we're buying new vans. Maybe we need a presentation on where we're at.
We can, because I don't know for sure if we're gonna buy, we're ready to buy, we're okay to buy like 10 more vans, but I don't know if we are gonna buy 10 more vans. So
It'd be good to have a
Yeah.
presentation on that.
We can do that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, TAC 12, written. Any comments? Okay, item 13, mobility. Written. Any comments? Moving to action items. Going to item 14, August 25th, off-cycle tip amendment, resolution 2025-16. Jonathan.
All right, the off-cycle August 2025 tip amendment includes 2 new projects. The first is from CDOT Division of Transit and Rail with the Harmony Road Mobility Hub. This project features Senate Bill 267 funding with $50K in FY26 and $450K in FY27. This project provides curb improvements, striping, and miscellaneous repairs to the existing mobility hub. The second project is in addition to the CDOT Region 4 surface treatment pool. The added project is Centera Parkway East. This is resurfacing work on US 34, which starts at around Shields. It goes to around US 257. This project features $6,550,105 federal STBG funds and $1,361,605 state highway funds in FY27 and $6,006,446 federal STBG funds, $1,248,592 state highway funds in FY28, which in this version of TIP is considered future funding. The public comment period opened on August 25th and will close on September 25th. The approval of this amendment is contingent on there being no negative public comments by the end of the period. An environmental and demographic impact analysis was conducted for both projects, and that can be found in the packet. NFRMPO staff noted no disadvantages and tax supported adding the off-cycle August 2025 tip amendment to the FY 24 through 27 tip at their meeting on August 20th. One last note, there's some mistakes in the resolution. We will have that fixed, and by tomorrow, the correct version will be there. That's all, thank you.
What mistakes?
Yeah, what is the mistake?
I just wrote a wrong date.
Okay. This is better than a wrong number, is what I'm getting at.
Could we maybe know what that is?
I wrote the September tip amendment instead of the August tip amendment. Should be minor.
We wanted to see if you'd catch it.
Obviously, we all did. Mr. Chair, move we approve resolution number 2025-16 as amended.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor with an eye?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign? Passes. Good job, Jonathan. All right, amend number 15, amend FY 2026-2027 UPWP FY 2026 budget resolution 25-17. This is
It's always fun to have your second meeting be, now I want you guys to consider changing the 26 budget. So in May, and the memo, I wanted to include, so you saw the previous numbers from the resolution that was approved in May versus what we're putting in the resolution and asking for your consideration now. The revised numbers are to more accurately reflect what we have received from CDOT regarding our federal funding picture for fiscal year 26. And some of these numbers have changed and been modified. In fact, on my second day here, I got the email from CDOT saying, here's your funding amounts. And a lot of them changed. So there's nothing like day two coming in and having a heart attack that you have $300,000 less than you just, the council was told they had for us to operate as an organization, because $300,000 for our organization makes a huge difference. So the first number for it's actually our consolidated planning grant. You can see I still have CDBG in my head. I was working on the coordinated plan, I think, at that time, reviewing it. The 3.99 is what you guys originally approved, and we're asking you to change it to 1.305970. This is the main funding source of the federal funds that we receive for our operation of our organization, our staffing, pretty much the foundation of what we receive as an organization are those CPG funds. Then we also get service transportation block grant funds, but that's over a 5-year period. So what's unique is we've asked you guys to approve the 2026 budget. I'm already asking you guys to amend it so that the amounts that you see here are what we're going to contract for, so that when we get audited and the auditors come in and say, why do you guys have a budget that's approved and it doesn't match what your contracts say, which is what you'll be hearing our auditor at the next agenda about. I'm trying to jump out ahead of that, knowing that these are some of the contract amounts that we're going to have for 26, so that these numbers match what our contracts are going to be for 26. We may still need to come back and make some changes on the FTA funding because we haven't received those contracts yet. So I don't want you guys to think that this is, for sure a locked in amount, but this at least gives you an idea of what we need to amend the budget for.
But we went up.
Well, I mean, so there's a story here.
I know you got some extra, you conned them out of some money somewhere.
I did.
I know.
So originally, I think there was confusion with our CPG. That 1.399, that local match included the toll credits. So I don't know if you recall, but CDOT said that they would provide the toll credits as the local match for those federal dollars. That's where the 1.3 number comes from. That 300,000 was the toll credit amount.
Wasn't the
The
budget.
problem is that that's not real money to our organization, right? So we then told our communities, well, you don't have to provide a local match to us because CDOT's covering it. So really the federal amount that we would have got was 1.064 or something like that. So that number really would have been just over $1 million. And not 1.3, thinking that we were getting another 300,000 in local match, but that's CDOT's covering that to the feds, not us. So then I would have had to have come back and said, communities, not only do you have to do a local match that we told you didn't have to do, but it's going to be double. So fortunately, CDOT, if you don't spend more than 25% of your CPG, you can apply for SPR, which is our state planning and research funds. And that's that one where it says 120. Becky did a great job of already securing that funding, had the scope of work. Like day 3, I get the email saying that we've been approved for that 120. Usually the state has like $800,000 of those funds. And they try and share it among the MPOs depending on like who's doing a regional transportation planning effort, what's going on. Well, we already knew that a couple of the other MPOs had already gone through their regional transportation planning efforts. So I need to just give a shout out to CDOT and Marissa Gahan because she just saved my life. I call her up. I'm practically like, I can't go to this council and beg for local match funds after we just told all the communities they didn't have to pay. Please help me out. And she did. So I begged her for $301,000 of additional SPR funds. And they committed that they will now amend our SPR contract to include 1.305 in CPG of that coming from the SPR funds. So we were able to make it up with the SPR fundings. I owe CDOT a huge debt of gratitude. I told them it would be a one-time request by a newbie, and I won't make it a routine request, but they're saving my bacon on this one. So we're not going to have to significantly decrease our budget. I think we're really only looking at a difference of $4,210 is what we're estimating.
Positive news.
So I'm asking you to amend the budget. And if you scroll down a little bit for me, Michaela, please. So we're also changing, we did get our Fort Collins exchange letter so that we could match the actual amounts that were identified in that letter. These are the sales tax exchange funds that we do as part of our agreement with the city of Fort Collins. So those numbers will match now what we anticipate happening for our Van Gogh program. And we also use the exchange funds to help match our 5310 FTA funds that were up above when we received those. But again, we don't have a contract for those. So there could be another time before the end of the year, if we do get contract FTA funding, that I may need to adjust that amount if that isn't the actual amount as well, just to make sure that our resolutions for our auditors and our contracts all align. So I'm asking for your support to approve the amended budget.
Any questions?
I should move to approve resolution number 2025-17.
Second.
First and a second, any discussion? All in favor with an eye?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign? Your UPWP is approved.
Thank you.
Number 16, 2024 NPO audit. All right, I'm gonna make, Michelle, we're gonna stick to the points. I've got a schedule here.
Good evening, everybody. That's going to be more up to Robert's presentation than mine, but we'll make sure we all stay on track.
I'll hold him accountable.
No problem. So as part of your packet, I included just a very brief memo that is going to be kind of a flyover as to what Robert's going to be talking about. We did have a finance committee meeting. We did have that with Kyle Groover, who is a representative of MHP, the lead auditor on this. And we had that on August 21st. That allows us to get a little bit more in the weeds and a little bit more detailed. When Robert does his presentation next, it's going to be a high level. But if anybody has any questions about anything on the audit, I'm happy to jump in and answer questions. I think Robert can absolutely answer questions as well. But I will go ahead and turn it over to Robert Dayhill. He's a partner at MHP who has been the outside auditor, the independent auditor for the last few years of the MPO. And he's familiar with, I've worked with him for the last 3 years on the audit. So we can welcome Robert, and I'll turn it over to him. Thanks.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for letting me come and present. Like you said, it is just going to be a high-level presentation. If you jump down, if you don't mind, there's about try about page 40. I don't know which PDF page that is. It provides a good go back a page. A couple more. Oh, okay, sorry. Try like 42. There's a good summary page that kind of does a good summary of everything. One another page. So here, let me just start off by saying, so when we do the audit, there's two types of audits that we do. We do an audit over the financial statements, as well as an audit over the financial federal programs. So, and then within that audit, there's two separate things that we take a look at. One, we take a look at for the financial side, we look at the financials themselves, and are they appropriately stated and reasonable in accordance with government auditing standards and generally accepted accounting principles. And then also as part of that audit, we go through and we look and see whether or not there's any issues with internal control over financial reporting. And so when we've done the audit, we've gone through and we issue what's considered an unmodified opinion. That's a clean opinion. That's the opinion that you want to receive. That audit stating that the financial statements as they are presented are in accordance with U.S. Generally accepted accounting principles and are not materially misstated. And so, like I say, that's the type of opinion that you want to receive. Also, as part of that audit, we look through and see if there's any deficiencies in internal control. And we did come across one issue related to some reconciliations. Nothing that we felt was systemic or problematic, but something that we did feel that we needed to bring to the attention and report. And it was primarily just as a result of all the turnover within the accounting department. We don't feel that it's anything that's going, like I said, is systemic or anything that's going to be an issue moving forward, but did feel that we needed to bring it to the attention. The other thing that we look at is the audit over the federal programs. And in that audit, we go through and again, we audit the programs to make sure that they are being spent and complied with the federal accounting, the federal guidelines. And then we also look at the internal controls over those programs to make sure that they're being operated in accordance with with good internal controls. And in both cases, we did not come across anything that we felt needed to be reported. So no issues that there was non-compliance, no issues over internal control matters. So overall, I thought the audit went well. No one likes to ever have an issue reported, but as I mentioned, I don't believe that it's anything that was systemic or problematic, and I anticipate that everything will be resolved and will be proper internal controls, reconciliations moving forward. And management does come through and provide a corrective action plan. It's included in the report here, and you can read that. We felt it was comfortable that it addresses the issues, as well as did want to bring to the attention that, the audit, in our opinion, went well. Everyone was well prepared, answered all our questions, got us the information that we needed when we needed it. So I did want to send a thank you out to everyone that was involved in the audit, that it did make the audit go very well. So with that, I will open it up and see if anyone has any questions. Okay. Hearing none, that's all that I had, unless there was anything else.
All right, we're gonna move on to item number 17, discussion items.
I'm sorry, can I just mention one thing with
Yeah.
regard to that? I mean, I think that the new software that we're gonna be using for financials are gonna really help with a situation like this. I mean, we are.
I don't know. I am not hearing. I'm not hearing anything, but I don't know if that's something on my end or what's going on. No.
No, you're good.
I can help with that
She's
too.
asking-
I can address that question. Part of the reconciliation with the Great Plains is that there's separate modules that don't necessarily talk to each other well. And so when you do a reconciliation, sometimes you have outstanding items that are on the general ledger, but not on the bank reconciliation. Part of the decision outside of Great Plains being sunsetted was to look for a financial software that's going to be it doesn't have such a break in the modules and make it so difficult with reconciliations. What we had to do was actually provide a separate Excel reconciliation spreadsheet to support our balances. And so that's typically not what you do with financial software. And my understanding is with the new software that this shouldn't be an issue.
I just wanted to make, because we had heard that in the finance committee, and I just wanted to make sure that people understood that not only is this not something that's systemic or problematic, it's something that will likely not happen again because we will have software that sort of will address that situation.
Thank you. And while this finding, the significant finding, I went back and I reviewed audits from previous years, and this reconciliation issue was an issue in those audits as well. So we're talking like $4,000. So it's not it's a nominal amount. They were able, like Michelle said, able to do the spreadsheet to help clarify it. So I think based on what Robert was saying, we're still in a good place for this 24 audit and can close out 2024 with your guys' approval of the audit so we can get it submitted to the state. So I would ask the motion. It's okay to approve it. It's not a resolution, but I'd like to submit it.
Well, we're gonna deviate from my agenda.
Sorry, Chair.
Executive Director.
Now I can hear. Now I can hear everybody. I apologize. For a while there, I lost the ability to hear.
You're good. We're moving on to, I'm looking for a motion to approve the audit.
Oh, perfect.
Second. Any other discussion? All in favor with an eye?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Your audit is approved.
Woohoo!
Fantastic.
I didn't see that on there.
Thank you, everyone.
I had to be a little snarky there.
Keep you on your toes.
You did. Number 17, discussion items, 2050 RTP amendment. Miss Becky,
Hello.
how you doing?
Good, how are you? So during the NPO's 2026 to 2029 TIP project submission call that was held in December, one locally funded capacity project for Miles County was submitted. And this project met the NPO's definition of a regionally significant air quality project. The definition is here in the bullet points. And required a 2050 RTP amendment, conformity determination analysis, as well as an update to our GHG transportation report. And then in March of this year, a request to update the West Elizabeth BRT project in the 2050 RTP was also received. Does not require air quality analysis done on that, but we decided to combine it with this request as well. So we can go to the next page here. So this shows the difference, the change in the West Elizabeth BRT. So this is the alignment that is in the current RTP. And if you can scroll down, this is the new alignment. So it's just changing where the stops are, but still along the same alignment basically. And then the project that is causing us to have to do the conformity determination is Wells County Road 66 from US 85 to Wells County Road 47. It is 4 miles going from 2 lanes to 4, from 2 through lanes to 4 through lanes. And this is just a set of the schematics to show where this is going to be put into place. The 30-day public comment period will start tomorrow. And I will give you a preview. We have already done the conformity determination analysis and we passed, we're fine. So that is not an issue. We will bring that to you as a discussion item in October. We'll also bring the GHG transportation report at that time. But I'm happy to take any questions if anyone has anything.
Any questions for Becky? All right.
Thank you.
Awesome. Number 18, 2026, 2029 Transportation Improvement Program, TIP. Jonathan. You got it.
Right. Should just hold that handout section. So this is a discussion around the draft FY 2026 to 2029 Transportation Improvement Program, also known as the TIP narrative. This update adds 2 years to the existing 2024 through 2027 TIP. The main purpose of the TIP narrative is to provide an overview of the various TIP processes to help guide ourselves and the communities in our region for how to complete said processes. This also provides an overview of the region's products that are deemed significantly important or regionally significant, and the funding sources or the funding amounts and sources that are attached to those projects. This includes project selection information, or the narrative includes project selection information, project delay information, and the amendment and modification processes. Also included are the updated TIP table, the updated financial plan, and the updated TIP project map. All of those have been updated to the new fiscal years. Because you go to the narrative page. There was one new project, or is one new project being added with the new TIP tables. That is the Wells County Road 66 project that you just spoke about. This is all local funding and will be included with the new TIP tables. Go back to the memo. Also new to this TIP is the information on how to fill out the amendment and modification forms. The TIP-STIP reconciliation information, and the TIP, and we updated the TIP narrative with various updates based on updated US DOT standards and requirements. The public comment period for the TIP narrative and the RTP amendment will open tomorrow and will close in 30 days. That is all from me. I will open it up to any questions or discussion.
Any questions for Jonathan? Thank you, Jonathan. We'll move to item 19, 2025 TIP delay review. Jonathan, you're on again.
Yep. All right. Yep. The FY 2025 TIP project delay review is an evaluation we do on projects with funding that has been awarded by council. This evaluation is done annually to ensure funding is being utilized in a timely manner. Funding sources for review include congestion mitigation air quality or CMAQ, surface transportation block grant or STBG, transportation alternatives or TA, multimodal transportation mitigation options fund or MMOF, and carbon reduction program or CRP. The process involves looking at the milestone deadlines that were included in the project applications. For construction projects, the deadline is the add date, and for non-construction projects, the deadline is the notice to proceed. Projects are awarded a first extension by TAC, which will happen at their next meeting. All second and third delays are granted by you all, the NFRMPO Planning Council. There were 26 projects that are up for delay. Could you go to the first table? To read them. So there were 4 projects that are up for a third delay. The first is the WCR 13 alignment improvements from Windsor. the CR19 improvements with Fort Collins, the US 34 widening Boise to Rocky Mountain from Loveland, and the 83rd Avenue roadway improvements from Greeley. There was one project up for a second delay. That is the Mulberry Street traffic signal synchronization from Fort Collins. Go to the next table. These are the projects that are up for a first delay. As I said, TAC is the one that votes on granting the extension for these. Go to the next table. These are the projects that were not delayed further. And go to the last page. I would like to specifically point out the both projects that would have been up for a fourth delay are currently not delayed further at this moment. Their add dates are pretty close to what the cutoff would be, so we will be checking in as an update to make sure that those projects have reached their add date.
59th and O Street went to bid. It's already out. It's advertised. Just getting ready to award.
Good to hear. So we won't be checking in on that one.
No more. No more.
I was gonna get crappy about that.
It went to ad. Got bids in.
So projects that are, another note, projects that are part of the ongoing MMOF reconciliation efforts are currently not being considered for delay. If they were, most of them would be up for delay. We'll figure out what to do down the road once we have figured out the MMOF issue. Yeah, that is all for me. I will open up to any further questions or discussion.
One of the things that it bothers me with my city, I don't know how everybody else feels, but when we're sitting on money and money's sitting in the bank, it doesn't look like we really need it. And it makes it look like you guys keep asking for money, but you have cash balance, 2.9 billion over there at CDOT, but it looks like we don't want to spend it. So I push on my folks at Greeley, but I get there's issues. Projects have issues. There's right of way, there's utilities, there's railroads. But I wish we'd just start spending our money. It's really.
I mean, some of this is out of our control though, like.
Some of it is, but there's a lot that I think.
Environmental reviews, I mean, to me, like, when we made our comments about the new bill coming up, I mean, it's not that I don't want environmental reviews. It's just that, I mean, like, environmental reviews shouldn't be as lengthy as they are, especially in things that are happening sort of in the right of way or in, like, two projects that already exist. Those environmental reviews have already happened. So, I mean, you know, when people get frustrated with the pace of government, it's because of things like that.
Yep.
And so some of that kind of stuff is out of our control.
I don't disagree.
You know, there again, I'm all for spending our money. I'm just saying that, you know, like, sometimes those right-of-ways too are contentious. You know, and so, and then we lost MMOF funding, and I mean, you know.
Some of these that are on third extension and third delays, that wasn't MMOF. It's just, some of it's just, all the issues you mentioned, plus just not getting it done. Okay, that's all I had to say. And CDOT knows what I'm talking about, because they got $2.9 billion sitting in the bank.
So Jonathan, for the next council meeting, when they have to vote on the ones that are under their purview, if they vote to not continue to support delaying them, what's the process?
Thank you.
Yeah, so if council were to vote to not approve going forward with a project's funding, then we would need to go through a TIP amendment process to remove that project from the TIP. So.
And then it goes back into the pot,
yes,
right?
And to any
call.
waitlisted projects, yes.
On waitlisted, I think.
So I just want you guys to be thinking about, you know, if you know, when you go back to your communities and say, can we get these done? Are they realistic? That's kind of going back to your point, Commissioner, like, should it go back to the pot for somebody who can get something done then? But though, again, I think the communities worked as hard as they can to try and spend these funds. They're difficult funds to contract.
And I would say this 287 intersection it's a big project.
And so then, if there's information your communities have that you need to get to Jonathan to help with the presentation for the action item part, then that's what that would be helpful, right? If your communities need to give him more updated information before the next council meeting so that he can make this as updated as possible, that would be great.
All right. Moving on. MMOF funding, this should be fun.
Yeah, sorry, I'm gonna slow everything down. Yes, so I get the happy topic. So as you are all aware, during the 2025 legislative session, the General Assembly pulled back 71.4 million in existing funding from the local MMOF program as part of the statewide budget deficit for FY26. After they did some reconciliation, the net reduction of local MMOF funding was lowered to 53.2 million. So the MMOF funds removal has resulted in fiscal years 2023 to 2025 of being over-programmed. So there are options for achieving compliance with the funding reduction that we've been provided with by CDOT headquarters staff, which is delaying a project. We can reduce the funding for any projects, or we can cancel projects. So for the NFRMPO awarded projects, this funding reduction impacts 8 projects. The City of Greeley's Merge Project, City of Loveland's US 34 Transit Sidewalk Connectivity Project, City of Fort Collins Foothills Transit Station and Roundabout Project, Larimer County's Taft Hill Road Corridor Project, the MPO's Ride NOCO Sustainable Funding Project, Fort Collins On-Route Battery Electric Bus Chargers, Weld County's Weld County On Demand Transit Program, and City of Greeley's 10th Street Transit Vision. So of these 8 projects, when we talked through this, so we've had 2 TAC work sessions during the TAC meetings, and then we had a special meeting with just the impacted project sponsors after the TAC meeting in July, sorry. So Fort Collins volunteered to remove their on-battery electric bus chargers project, which is $1 million, which is great and helpful. Still left us with a deficit. The MPO tried to forego. We tried to cancel the entirety of the Ride NOCO funding, but we were not able to do that. So we're going to forego 170,000 instead of the full 300. And so, as I said, we've held some work sessions. This has been an ongoing topic. It is uncomfortable. It's not a happy topic. Nobody wants to give up funding, and we understand that. So attached to the memo in your handouts packet is this lovely table on pages 17 and 18 of the handouts packet. So there are 8 proposals, and I want to start this off by saying this is Dana Horncole. He is with Fort Collins. This is his brainchild. He is the one who came up with this. He did all of the brain damage, and I am forever grateful to him for doing this for us. He went through all of this, and we had a meeting just yesterday, actually, between us, Fort Collins, and the City of Greeley to sort of iron out these proposals. So each of these proposals build on each other. So if I say anything wrong, Dana, please step in and correct me. So start through this. So if you could go to the next one, which shows, so the yellow shows what's changed. So this first scenario here shows the removal of the MPO's 170,000 for the Ride NOCO, the additional Ride NOCO funds, as well as the Fort Collins battery project. So that shows what this is, and then the reduction that we need to have, which is shown in this smaller table here, is spread across the remaining projects, the 6 projects. So that is a total of 19.32%. Each project has a reduction of that. So can you go over to the far? So this shows the original award amount, the percent reduction, the revised total, and then what that difference is between what was awarded and what is the revised total. The second scenario includes the removal of those 2 projects, and then the highlighted portion is the portion of the 1 million going to fully fund the Foothills Transit Station, which is Fort Collins' top priority between the 2 projects they have in this list. And then the remainder going back into the pool to help reduce the overall amount, and then that percent reduction is 17.25%. And then the last one is all of those And the removal of funding from the Greeley 10th Street Transit Project, that is not their top priority. Merge is the top priority. Goes without saying that that's the top priority. Taking the amount from the 10th Street, adding it to the merge project to make sure that is fully funded as much as it can be. And then the reduction across the rest of them is 12.44%. Additionally, the Taft Hill project is not as impacted because it was waitlisted for both CRP and STBG funds, and we do have additional federal funds that we can move to help fully fund that project, and that helps to reduce the MMOF impact a little bit. And if there is anything I misstated, Dana, please correct me. No, I didn't. Okay.
So you showed us 3 options. What did TAC recommend?
This isn't really a consent. Nicole, could you come and join?
Out of all the 3 scenarios, which one did TAC like the best?
I was gone during that last work session, so I think the one that we liked was sort of sharing sharing it across the different.
Sharing the cost. I think this third one is the biggest, the one that where everyone had the most consensus because everyone is having to sacrifice. And yes, there's 2 cities here, communities here that had 2 projects. They've both given up, they're not their top priority, and put it back into the pool, making sure that their top priority is funded. But everyone is experiencing a reduction in funds, but the reduction is less because 2 communities have pulled theirs out.
One of the questions I have is these 2 projects that are out, one's Fort Collins and one's Greeley. What if accidentally something changes and there's additional funds? Will these still be part of the priority that these would get the funding to make them whole?
So that is one thing that Greeley wanted to make sure that their project was waitlisted for any available funding that would come in the future. And I believe that Fort Collins is applying to CTE for funds for the e-bus. So that one would not be impacted, but the Greeley one would be waitlisted. Yes.
I didn't hear that, but
Yeah, sorry.
that's okay.
It's complicated and tricky, and I'm trying not to.
I understand.
Trying to state it correctly. So we have been asked and we've been working through this, and like I said, this is a difficult process. Nobody wants to give up, the funding. Also having to go back to communities and making sure that the amounts that are shown are still workable for those projects. This has taken TAC a few months to get to, which is why we're just now bringing it to you in September. CDOT headquarters staff has asked us to have something to them what our plan is in October. So this will be an action item at the October meeting with the recommendation, that it would be scenario 3, which is the least painful solution.
So how's everyone feel? I actually don't think, to be honest with you, with the cut, I don't think it's that bad.
Yeah.
As long as the project's in wait list and there's another avenue for Fort Collins, I think that's like, we're moving ahead. It's not like we're dead. But.
Well, I just want to thank the community really and Fort Collins for doing that. And obviously Fort Collins can do clean transit that Enterprise is they can find those funds. And then Greeley being waitlisted, I mean, it hit his last 12.44% across the board, and I mean, to me that seems like a pretty good resolution for not an easy situation. So thanks, Dana.
Good job. I'm sure the TAC had fun meetings.
Everyone was equally unhappy, so.
And everybody thinks it sucks, that's a win.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Between the 10-year list and this, I'm just a ray of sunshine.
Good job, Becky. Way to bring this to fruition. Nicole, TAC, good job.
Thank you.
It's not easy when that stuff happens, so it takes good leadership to get it done. Right, so we're gonna move on. We're gonna start with Transportation Commission number 21, Mr. Cecil.
Yes, thank you.
2.9 billion, I think we got that money, we could backfill some of this.
Maybe. Well, a couple of things, nothing earth-shattering here. I know that we discussed the budget cuts from the legislative session. The special session, CDOT really did not feel significant impacts. The some of the hiring freezes that were put in place, all essential personnel were exempted from that, and even some of the project management that would have normally been part of the hiring freeze because they were very important projects that needed to be managed. Some of those were exempted as well. All of the enterprises were exempted from the hiring freezes. And I think that's really good news compared to what we heard a couple of months ago. We had 3 new commissioners that were sworn in at our last meeting. Barbara McLaughlin fills the director seat in District 8. Barbara is, and that's down in the southwest corner, and Barbara is a former state legislator from that area. District 3, Juan Marcano, which is the Douglas County, Arapahoe County area, and he is a former city councilor from Aurora. Elise Jones fills the District 4 seat, which is the Boulder area and that region over there. And she is the executive director of SWEEP, which, if you ask me what that's, it's the Southwest Energy something project. I forget what the efficiency. There you go.
So you just made that up.
I
You gotta follow that.
Yeah. And then just within the last week, the governor appointed Diane Barrett to the region, to the District 1 seat, which is Denver, the Denver area. And Diane Barrett spent a great deal of time as the Chief Projects Officer for the City and County of Denver. And most recently, she was the project manager for the Mountain Rail project that, with all the negotiations that was going on. So those are the commissioners. And then the last thing I'm gonna mention is that finally tolling and the STEP, that's the safety program on I-25 North, will go live the first part of December. All of the equipment is finally in place. Now they're doing the final calibrations and final testing. So all that free ride is, well, by the way, no longer free. And for those of our citizens who have enjoyed crossing those double white lines, I'm sure I will hear some whining and complaining when they cross those double white lines and they get the fines. And so it's actually exciting. I know that everybody's enjoyed the free ride on the interstate, on the managed lanes, but quite frankly, it has put CTIO in kind of a bind for almost 2 years now, because we can't really move to the next big projects because of the funding and the ability to bond. And so we're excited about finally starting to get to see that revenue coming from segments 6, 7, and 8. So with that,
where it says the tolls are waived, but the double yellow line thing is still in effect, right?
Double white, yeah,
the double white line has always been in effect.
Is it bad that I cheer every time I watch? So I was like, you just got nailed.
I do the same thing.
I'm like,
well, most people don't understand that that's been part of state law forever,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And so,
And
yeah.
now they're enforcing it.
Didn't we
Now
lose
it's-
two
now
vans
it's being
in
enforced.
Shouldn't make me so happy.
Something crossed.
Yeah, now it's being enforced.
Okay.
So, yeah, in December, it'll be enforced even more.
Yeah, because then the tolls will also be part of.
Yeah.
All right, any questions for the commission? Moving into the stack report.
Yeah, we met this morning and, we adopted the 2050 statewide plan. And I think, it was nice. There was quite a few, I talked to Commissioner Ross ahead of time as well. And I think it was nice that even though it was adopted with some comments, that it didn't quite match what everyone was hoping. So that was adopted. And then we had some updates on rural roads. None of them were rural in this part of the state, but it's nice that there is still money going to rural roads, even if it's not in our neck of the woods. So that was the general overview. That's all I've got.
All right, thank you. Any questions for Liz? Front Range Passenger Rail?
No meeting in August.
John?
I will add this, and Tricia may not have read it yet, but we got an email at 4:30 today. And we're gonna have a meeting on Monday to talk about what's called corridor conversations, which is kind of overdue. It's getting ready for the vote and getting citizens involved and et cetera. Loveland and Fort Collins decided a long time ago that we were going to do it jointly, and that's the only stations in the room, I believe. We had till 10:31 to do that. And so they gave us a bunch of bullet points and stuff for the presentation, which I really appreciate. Biggest thing is figuring out where it's going to be, I suppose, but we'll talk about that offline.
I don't think CDOT's on the agenda anymore. You guys pulled your lives off.
I know, you weren't on the agenda, but I did just want to make you feel guys.
CDOT sort of.
I'm hoping you didn't want to be on the agenda.
CDOT gave up on us like 6 months ago.
I'm like, I come and now you're like, we don't need to report.
Well, we got Johnny here. Johnny's all seen up, so he knows everything.
I know things. I don't know if you want me to say the things I know. Any questions? Who was I on? The Front Range Passenger Rail. All right, host council. I got a lot to say and not a lot to say. Not a lot to do. We have a lot of work going on. I think everybody knows. 59th and O Street is out to bid. It's bid. They're reviewing bids and we'll have it awarded probably here shortly.
So how long will you take off the commissioner on his way to work?
I know.
Well, it'll take, I would say pack your patience. Pack your patience. It'll be a while building around that.
We all have issues. Our main street's basically blocked.
The merge project is moving along really well. Our design team has been doing a lot of the reviews. I think you're gonna start seeing, they're doing the environmental assessment out there right now. But I think you're gonna start seeing maybe some RFPs come out for contractors, and so we get the CMGC side going. Then they'll hire an owner's rep, so that is gonna be a mess for a long time when it gets started, but it's gonna be well needed for a long time. 16th Street, anybody that's ever been in our town, half of it's done. The other half is gonna start under construction, so that's a good thing. US 34 and 17, working with Weld County on an IGA to get the funding straight up so we can finish the 1601. Design is complete, is being done to 30%. So hopefully when we break ground out on the Cascadia project, after all the stones and people are burned at the stake or it's over, we'll hopefully have that start rocking and rolling sometime in the next year. So that interchange needs to get done before the project gets done. So it'll probably be right at the same time. So We got a drop puck August 1st of 2028. So that'll be cool.
No pressure.
No pressure.
Or what?
Or they're gonna be playing in your backyard.
There's gonna be a lot of mad hockey fans.
Yeah. They'll play at the ice house down in Greeley. Seats 1,000, we'll be good for a while. A lot of going on, downtown projects going on, and Weld County, Greeley, city, school district, all working together to move that forward. So good partnerships with Weld County and city. So and then there's a big airport thing that we're working on that could see a major change at our airport. And there's probably about $2.8 billion worth of work going on in Greeley over the next 3 years. So good place to be, bad place to be a council member. So that's all I have.
It's your attitude.
I'm gonna tell you, man, I go home, I drink a hell of a lot more than I used to. I have to go home and drink heavily.
Again, not your campaign slogan.
Oh, and by the way, anybody that'd like to donate to my campaign, I'm not
They'll accept bottles or cash.
bottles, Crown, whiskey, or cash.
And so am I, so if you,
Is there, yeah, how many of us are running it? Is there many? So we got 3 of us running.
Just as corner.
Just those poor souls. So, yeah, so keep prayers, because in November,
What they do without.
well, you guys wouldn't have us, so don't go out and vote against me.
I don't vote.
Can't vote for or against.
Yeah. Yeah, but don't go out campaigning against me just so I don't show up. I'll still come.
You
All right.
keep getting meetings done 50 minutes in advance, I might write you a check.
Look at that. Got it done. I was worried that we weren't gonna get it done. So please remember, next month's meeting, where is it at?
Collins.
Fort Collins. If you have any suggested topics, I already threw one out, Tango. If you have any others, please get them to them. And at this point in time, unless there's no other business, call the meeting to an end. Thank you.
I was gonna